Welcome back to Don't Judge Me, but with a very special version today. We have the KSI in real life special. We have some very special guests also. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves from left to right, starting with Pi?
Oh, hello. Yeah, so my name is Pi, or Jack, but everyone just calls me Pi. Or Pieface. I've butchered that, haven't I? But yeah.
Good start.
No, it's good to be back. I'm kind of just saying, I can see the Randy emotes in the chat. Randy, that whisk emote is sensational.
Thank you, mate. Worked hard on that one.
All right,
hey
next
guys.
along the line.
Yeah, hey, it's Sarel. You can call me Coco, Sarel, or Sarel. I'm not fast. But yeah, I'm very new to Twitch, so I'm sorry if I seem like a 50-year-old geriatric who's like trying to figure out WhatsApp. But I will get it. I promise I will.
Love it, love it. It's all right. Don't worry.
Hello. My name's Randolph. I'm best known for being KSI's friend, so I'll be able to give you some good insight into his documentary and the truth behind it. So I'm very excited to be joined by you guys today for this cracking conversation.
I thought I recognised you.
Yeah. I also, by the way, I'm actually in the documentary as well. I was in it, so ask me anything.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give some good insight.
Yeah, I will.
All right, well, today's episode theme is success versus sacrifice, which is definitely a running theme throughout this documentary. We're going to start with a clip. For anyone that hasn't seen it, obviously go and watch it after this. But if you haven't, this will give you a good insight into what the documentary is about. So let's start with a little clip.
She said, like, I don't get excited for anything anymore. Like, it's like I'm dead inside. I was like, fuck. She's kind of right.
Really?
No, I do get excited, but I don't know, when you kind of just done so well in so many things, etc., you kind of just go, oh, okay. And then nothing really hits the same. I don't know what I'm saying.
I actually can't.
You're gonna cry.
Yeah, I did say, I was like, on this stream, I probably will cry because I sobbed my way through the documentary. I don't know about you guys. I found it really it was emotional, especially like clips like that. And I think it sets us off well as success versus sacrifice. Like, what is the balance? Do you have to sacrifice things to be successful? Like, what is your sort of overall opinion on the debate? Starting with you, Pi.
I think it's difficult, right? It depends on your, I guess, circumstances, because some people might have to give up a lot to get to where, I guess, ultimately they want to be. I guess it also depends on how high along your ladder, say, you want to aim, because you might be able to maybe finish up a little lower and then give up less. But if you really want to reach the peak, you might have to give up a lot and things that you don't want to. It depends how much you want to achieve your end goal, I suppose.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that the two kind of go hand in hand. But I think sometimes people look at sacrifice as like a negative, and that's not always the case, because you could be sacrificing, I don't know, like social time that, yeah, it's fun, but actually it's going to impact your success in a positive way. But obviously there is then the negative sides of the sacrifices you could have to make with like relationships or whatever. But yeah, I think the two kind of go hand in hand. Most successful people will say that their journey is filled with lots of sacrifices that they've had to make along the way. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the same actually. Like, you have to sacrifice a lot to be able to do this. You know, there's nights where you have to like do, you know, to stream, you have to go to an event or something. So for example, in my case, like that would mean less time with like my daughter or my wife, whatever. But then again, like doing that is like, you know, helping to support that as well, right? So it's like, you know, by doing the things that we are sacrificing for, or it's actually helping those people as well. But you also do kind of, yeah, you miss out on a lot of things, and that can be tough. But like Pi said as well, it depends how high you want to go. Some people can be very like happy and take what they have and then split time, you know, what other people want to get really, really high. And I think JJ has that ambition, you know, he has that ambition to get where he is today and even further than that. Like if I was in his position, I wouldn't be doing what he's doing now. You know, I'd call it quits and just enjoy my life, but he wants to get more and more. So that does come with the downside, but that's how he's built, you know. So, you know, that's kind of like his direction. And as long as he's at peace with that, then that's fine, you know.
What were your guys' sorry to interrupt you.
No, go for it. No,
sure?
go ahead.
I was gonna say, what was your
absolutely.
overall, like, not opinion, but feeling watching the documentary? Because I feel like I saw a lot of people were really surprised at the angle that it was at, because obviously you don't ever see this side of like JJ and a lot of people in the limelight. You kind of just see all the glamour and all the glitz. So I think people were quite surprised, and like I was less surprised because I've seen the other side of it, but I'm interested from the perspective of someone that maybe wasn't expecting, or like, were you expecting it? What was your feelings?
I really enjoyed it. The thing for me, being a FIFA creator, when I first started, like, and even before I first started doing FIFA, like back in the Mackey's days, obviously JJ was massive then, like, and obviously he's even more astronomical now. So it was someone properly to like look up to, and then you look back and think, wow, the OG, you know, the old school, and kind of the development he's taken from that FIFA madness in his bedroom to what he does now. It was really intriguing to see that even the best still have difficulties in certain aspects, because I always doubt myself, like, all the time. And when you see that somebody that's in that position and someone that works so hard and has killed so many things is also, you know, it kind of levels you a bit. It's good. It was really good watch, a really good watch.
Yeah, I think for me as well, like, I agree, because obviously I knew KSI, the personality, but the documentary felt like I was getting to know JJ, and I was the same. I bawled my eyes out the entire way through. There were scenes I had to stop and get tissues because I was like, this is a lot, you know. But no, I thought it was just very humanizing, and it was like nice to see him in a different light. And I think for me, the biggest takeaway was like, he does everything at 100%. There is no 50% for him. So whether he's loving, whether he's fighting, whether it's music, whether it's YouTube, it's all 100%. Even like his interactions with his fans, he doesn't give like a 50-50. So I think that was like really nice to see that other side to him. Obviously, I know you guys are friends. Was there parts of the documentary that you were like, this is a new side to him I've not seen before? Was it like, yeah, that's the JJ I know?
Well, for me, no, I would say, honestly, like, I think it's nice for other people to see that, but as someone who's been with him since like the start, not with him, you know, Sam will have a go at me for saying that, but no, you know what I'm saying? It was someone who's been close to him since the start. Like, I think what's important with like the job that we all do, and also what he's done, is that we don't change as people. Like, our lives change, and what we do, it changes, but we don't change as people. So it's like, you know, the struggles you have when you first start, you still have as you go throughout your career. Obviously, like, you know, your resources can become greater, you know, who you meet, the things you do become better, but you as a person stays the same. And I think that's what people don't understand when they watch this, is that, and I think that's why, like, you know, people always like want to do this job, but they don't understand that, like, what comes with it. And for JJ, he has to have all those kind of like things that he's started out with on his mind, and that's going to live with him throughout his career. But also he's got the pressure of like supporting his friends at the same time, you know, and also his you know, the companies he works with. He has to do all that stuff while being a human, a person, and that's not easy for anyone, for any of us. Yeah,
I think I'm somewhere in between. Like, obviously I'm nowhere near as close with JJ as like Randy is, so I was in between where best mates. I've seen him be like emotional in a sense of like, I've seen when he's been chilled and he's like burnt out, but I've never seen him cry.
Yeah,
and
man.
Oh my god, bruh, that scene, no.
Yeah, it catches you off guard as well, because it sounds like he's laughing. When he cries like that, it starts off sounding like he's laughing, like he's just doing a video, but then he doesn't stop, and then, you know, it turns to tears, and you think, oh my gosh, what's going on?
Yeah,
and
I
you can't
didn't
control
expect it.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it. I think Coco made a great point when you said you kind of see that different side to him. It's when I was surprised when he was almost describing it a lot in the documentary, saying how the KSI is a character, you know, when it, back in the day when he was sort of making them type of FIFA videos, that actually that wasn't anything that he was like. That was, you know, KSI was purely basically an alter ego effectively for the internet. I thought that was interesting.
I agree. And obviously today's episode is success versus sacrifice. And before we move on to what the sacrifices actually are, what is your quick definition? Like, what to you is success? Because obviously to someone it might be just having a happy family and keeping them safe and warm. To someone else it's being on stage in front of 20,000 people. To someone else it's being a footballer. Like, what do you think defines success?
That's a hard one. Yeah, that is a tough question.
It's a tough one.
I think firstly it's a personal scenario, as you said, depending on like where you're at in life. I mean, before, when I'd say my life was probably falling apart and everything was an absolute shambles, as in a total mess, I looked at legitimately just absolute, I'd say, mundane as being happy. Like that would honestly, just a normal day or a normal week for me there would I would actually class as being successful. Now I like to think I'm doing better. I have, you know, personal goals that I want to achieve. I know some people like to set targets that they want to be at this level and this stage, or, you know, they set specific targets. I just have a few things that one day I'd like to do, I guess. But I'm very much a day by day person, you know. That's how I like to do things.
It's such a big question. So I agree that I'm the type of person who has goals, and I separate my success, whether it's personal, professional. I like try and keep them separate, because I think you can be really successful professionally and be lacking personally, and vice versa. And you have to keep them, you have to try and keep that balance as possible. But I think a goal for me in general now is just making sure that if I am living my authentic, truthful self, then I am at the height of success in that. And that doesn't mean I've got the accolades I want or I've got the money in the bank that I want, but it just means that I can lay my head to rest and be proud of what I'm doing. And I think that's like the healthiest way to like put a marker to success. But yeah, I think that's how I would define it.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, I would agree, by the way, because like I think success is just, you know, you being at peace with your life. And I think that the tough part about success is that, you know, usually, or at least for me, in my experience, I've always been chasing the numbers. And because what we do is defined by numbers, whether it be like, you know, YouTube views or Instagram followers or whatever that may be, that's what we look at all the time. So I've always like chased that success. But I think a lot of things that, like, personally for me, I wish that I didn't do that. I wish I focused more on myself and like my friends, my family, and a lot of stuff like that, because that's where I find my peace from, you know. But because now I'm in such a rat race to find all the numbers, it's hard to kind of take a break and take a step back, because it's not something like personal relationships and that peace within takes time. You can't put a video out and it happens straight away, or you can't go viral. You have to work on it day in, day out. I think that's the hardest part, but you have to do that while also still making sure you are following the numbers, so it can get really difficult.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point with like personal success and then professional success. And it's like true success is making them both work in tandem without either one affecting the other. But it's like, realistically, how possible is that? Like, does one always have to be sacrificed? Chat,
so I apologise for smirking. It's the chat. Yeah, I know.
No, it's so.
I know. I was trying to.
No, I get it, because like this can be quite deep. So do you know what? Fair play, lighten the mood, live your best life, chat. Do you? Like when you need to do you, that's fine. And it is going to get a little tougher, because we are going to move on to realistically the actual sacrifices that are made. Like, is it privacy, is it time, is it family? What is the sacrifice? And there's a really good clip from the documentary that actually sort of portrays a really big sacrifice that JJ specifically has had to make in the come up in his success.
Would it be fair to say you were best friends growing up?
Yeah, no, we were very good friends. Yeah, I'd say we were very tight. After the whole public situation between me and him, yeah, it definitely destroyed the relationship that we had.
3, 4, 5, 6. Easy. Do you think if it wasn't for the internet, you guys would have a better relationship?
100%. I wouldn't say it's a curse, but it definitely would have been different if there was no internet. Our relationship, I think, would be tight.
Push it if you want. Try 8. Try 8. There we go. Nice.
And better. That's a good finish. Cool. Rest up.
I just want it to be like old times again, where we would talk about anything. We were close. We would just always have each other's backs. That's what I want. I just want a brother.
Oh, that one's hard as well. So yeah, again, I'm gonna ask you guys, but more of a personal question. Obviously, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. Do you feel like you've had to sacrifice anything in your life in a time where you've sort of been like, I have to give this up now, but actually in the long run, this is why I'm doing it? I know, Randy, you spoke about obviously like time with your daughter and your wife, and maybe you can elaborate.
Yeah, well, like obviously when I first I kind of finished uni and I was doing a few things here and there, but I wanted to kind of get back into like the YouTube scene. So I remember messaging JJ and just saying like, I'm down to do whatever I can to help, you know, whether it be like music or video ideas, whatever. And he ended up like giving me the chance and, you know, asking me to come film stuff for him. And I wasn't, you know, everyone always laughs at the fact that I was his cameraman, but it wasn't like what I was signed up to do. I just said, let me help you with something. And he gave me that chance, but he was living 3.5 hours away from me, you know? So I kind of like took that chance, and every week I was driving there, you know, 2-3 times a week, which meant I was spending time away from Laura. Obviously we had no baby yet, you know, we were just kind of like just engaged, or we were just married at the time. So we weren't really like, you know, there wasn't much on the line in terms of like the family side of things. But that's something that I do, like, I'm very aware that I spent a lot of time away, and now I'm in a position where I've, you know, kind of done much better, you know, since then. Now I made the other decision to kind of move away from London and spend more time with, you know, Harper and with Laura. So that's now I'm 3 hours away again, and I'm still doing the same drive, you know, but now it's because, you know, they exist. It's because I want to make sure I'm spending as much time with them as possible. So that, you could say you sacrifice one thing for your family back in the day, but now I'm sacrificing, you know, the work for my family at the same time. So it's kind of like, goes both ways, and like I said before, obviously trying to find that piece is difficult, so that's one thing I'm doing to try and balance things out. But again, it makes more, it can be hard because you know, the long hours traveling is tough on you. But
nah, fair play,
goes both
Randy.
ways.
Big respect for that, mate.
I was gonna say, I do think it's interesting how you have the like 360, because realistically, if you hadn't have done it originally, like you wouldn't be where you are, and you wouldn't be able to have, you know, the life that you have. And it is an interesting like a journey where you've come back like full circle almost. Yeah, I don't know about you guys as well. Is there anything that sticks out in your mind or something you've been like, oh, I've had to give this up, but actually like this is the reason I did it?
Eating McDonald's every day, that's probably, I mean, you say, and I joke with that, but I joke with that, but like legitimately that is definitely an absolute like bad diet. Is honestly that generally is probably a life sacrifice in terms of, it's not a full sacrifice, but
no, it counts.
You know, yeah, like I have to try and be careful. Mainly facts, that was a bad life decision. I guess in all seriousness, actually, I mean, it seems we are deep on it. Gambling is probably another like serious one that I like. It's hard to explain. People that have things like that know how much they enjoy doing it, but know how dangerous it is. So you have to give that up in order to progress, because you know that you can't have a serious life without
good example of a good sacrifice.
It definitely needs to be done. I think I've been quite lucky in terms of like having to make, say, personal sacrifices for work-wise. This is what Randy was saying in terms of, I mean, that's madness, you know, like it's such a monster decision. And I've got family that live, you know, close to me, but I don't have, you know, anyone else. I live on my own and things, and I don't have children. So it's kind of like, for me, I can focus without having to impact too many people, I guess. Whereas in the documentary with obviously Deji and JJ both being on YouTube and stuff, I actually thought that honestly that was really deep. Those whole scenes, especially when he was talking before as well, when Deji lost in the boxing, and he was saying about, you know, how like coming out with the way actually, you know, I'm disappointed and stuff. That was a really interesting watch, a really interesting watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes, I have sacrificed, but I also sometimes feel like the sacrifices have impacted me socially rather than like professionally. I feel like professionally, that's always the thing that I go for. But then socially, I'm like, I can sacrifice time with friends, or I can sacrifice time with family. And the older I get, the less I'm doing that. And I'm trying to be really conscious, because I feel like when you're younger, you're just like grind. Like, you got to get that money.
Yeah.
What's the next thing? You know what I mean? But yeah, like, I don't know. I also feel like you're always going to feel like something is being sacrificed. So just try and make the best decision you can. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing else you can really do in that type of situation.
Like one day at a time as well. Yeah. Trying to do too much can be difficult. It's like all about the next day and the next day, you know?
Especially in content creation, it's difficult because sometimes you can't do everything you want to do. As you said there, like Coco, socially especially, you have to give up some things in order to do others. And especially when it comes to, you might have 3 opportunities in the same few days, but you can only, you might have to give one up to do another. Or especially with streaming, because like when you stream as like a main thing, and that's a lot of your time. When I was younger doing it, I used to pretty much, if I had opportunities, I'd be like, no, I'm only streaming. Now I try and allow myself a bit more time to do other things and mix up. But as you say, it's a grind, isn't it? You have to just, I guess if you want to keep at it, you just got to keep grinding.
Yeah. Definitely. I think also something else in this documentary that's interesting is obviously JJ's extreme level of like fame, essentially, and how that's impacted his life, and a lot of like the issues that he was facing are realistically completely derived from just the fame aspect. But fame is something that so many people aspire to have, and that to them is the pinnacle of success. Where do you stand on the idea of fame? Like, is it, you're successful if you're famous? Is it like, nah, you've gone past success and you're now just destroying your mental? Like, what's your take?
You got all the tough questions here, Talia. There's no.
I mean,
the thing is like, it's sick. It really, I think there are positive and negative to it, because say for example with me, if it comes to maybe like, I mean, and I don't ever want to, I'd never say like I was famous, or I'd never say fame is a thing, but if I go to football and stuff, if I travel, you'll get people, and like 95% of people are absolutely sound, like legitimately sound, but you will get people that are idiots, and that is the side that sometimes you don't get. Like, and even on like nights out, you genuinely will get people that want to, like, I've had people that want to start beef, and they want to do it because their mates are trying to record it for Snapchat and things. These things happen. Yeah. So you do have that side that you effectively, as someone in the chat just said, you do sacrifice privacy. But on the other hand, it's a very, very, like if you're doing your shopping and someone comes up and says, oh, love the streams or whatever, I love the content, that's a proper nice fit. Like, it's a good feeling, I'm not gonna lie. It's a sick feeling. So you have to effectively, I guess, sacrifice the privacy and that element to have the good side. I don't know if that's a good way to put it, but
no, I do think
I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine, obviously, in JJ's position, as Josh said, with the Sidemen, they can't film in London because of the amount of people. Yeah. I can't imagine what it's like just to be able to, go to the shop. It must be difficult, literally, just to go to the shop as JJ,
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like fame is just, it scares me. It scares me. I want to be able to go into Tesco's and just get me milk and get out. I don't want to have to do but I do think as a content creator as well, it's really difficult because you've built a community of people, which I love. And like, when people come up to you and they're like, oh my God, we did this, or you've got like the same chat or the same talk or whatever, you kind of understand one another. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a really delicate game. I think there is like a side to fame that's really toxic, that's really hard, that's heavy on your mental. Like, there's all of those other aspects. And I think from the outside looking in, it probably looks like it's more glitz and glam than it actually is. But yeah, I'd rather be rich than famous. So that would be me.
Yeah, I think that's one thing. I think as well,
Take both. Take both.
Take both. Yeah. Well, JJ's found a way to manifest both for sure. But I think fame can be dangerous because it can, number one, it can go to your head too much as well, but it also can do the opposite thing as well. It can drive you to places where you don't want to go, and that's why it's important to think about success and try and define what success is. If fame is success, then that's great. That's one thing. But then, like you say, it doesn't amount to money, doesn't mean to relationships, doesn't amount to family. So it's like, how can you be successful and take all of the the gains that comes from fame, not famous, but comes from the fame, while also making sure you're taking care of the rest of the things, And I certainly would say that I say yes to too many opportunities and too many things now and then, where if I said no, I think it would improve my mental capacity, it improve my family related relationships. I say yes all the time, and I get to a point when it's like, well, actually, what am I doing for myself? Because we are really important in this field, and if you're not happy, if you're not at peace and you're not comfortable, then you can't even do the rest of the things anyway. So you got to take time and do those things that actually benefit yourself, because we are, again, like we are human, and sometimes this field and fame can get to your head and it can kind of take you into directions you don't want to go. So it can be a really tough one.
I do think it's actually really interesting what you said about taking on work or going to an event or something that actually maybe you should have said no to. And I think one of the interesting things about this job, and also every single person that experiences any level of fame, because it is a spectrum, you can go from 0 to 100, and it's that your levels of what is exciting and interesting. And it was like what JJ said in the first clip, where he said nothing excites me anymore. You kind of push yourself further and further and further to try and chase that excitement. And what one day is you go into a theme park's really exciting, you then get invited to an event there, and then you get invited to an event there where none of the public are there, and it's like it gets further and further and further, and obviously on a bigger scale, where you kind of can't come back from it, and it's like, well, what's then exciting to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. That's a good point. No, it's a good point though.
Put it out there. Just put it out there. One of the things I was going to ask you actually was with what JJ did, is he came from obviously YouTube at the beginning, then he kind of meandered into music and then into boxing. Now he kind of does a bit of everything. He has a brand, he's definitely made himself into this multi-faceted business. Do you think changing, at what point do you think you can't change careers? Do you think there's always a time to change careers, or do you think it's kind of once you're set in your path, it's hard to meander away? I think there's actually a clip that's something we can watch.
I have to work harder than all of these artists, man, to prove that I can be in that position. I think from my childhood, I've always had so much pressure to do well, so the idea of failing was terrifying. It's just scary. I think maybe that's my fear of failure. That's my biggest fear.
So that's actually what I was going to say. Do you think the fear of failure can stop someone from pursuing something that maybe they should be in, just because they've started in a path that maybe they originally didn't plan to be in?
Yeah, I think it certainly can do. When, as you say, when you get yourself into a position, it's hard to sometimes change path. In this industry, I think a lot of people say, oh, why don't you try other games? Why don't you try other things? I think it's very difficult unless you are an elite, where you can play whatever you want. Especially with FIFA, it's very hard to branch out and do other things. You kind of set yourself down that path. And the fear of failure, I would say, is something I have in my mind all the time. I think, especially in what Randy said, it's a heavy numbers game, and when you see that videos are not doing well or trends are going in the wrong direction, you start posting things and not hitting as well, you think, oh no, it's going in the wrong direction. Is it something I've done? And you overthink everything. So I think a fear of failure is massive, especially in myself. I always see it like that. I always get worried if things don't go, and then I try and push myself to think, how can I change it, I guess.
I agree. I think that's the thing that I'm afraid of the most. I'm in competition with myself, and that's the problem as well, because I will set a target and then if I don't reach it, I'm like, right, we've got to do that again. And if I reach it, I'm like, okay, now we've got to go past that. And it's just like never ending. It's like, yeah, but I do feel I can't remember who said it, but somebody said your success is on the other side of your fears. So whatever it is you're afraid of doing or starting, you have to kind of just be like, if it makes me happy and it's something I want to go into, just go into it, you know?
Yeah, I like that quote.
It's just, I feel like it's definitely hard on your head and it's hard like mentally. And like we were saying, take it day by day, but absolutely stopping yourself with any barrier, whether it's a fear of failure, whether it's comparison, whatever it is, just try and strip that back and push through. And I think that's constantly what I'm trying to remind myself whenever I want to venture into something new.
Yeah, for sure. Because like it's interesting to hear JJ say that like his fear of failure is what makes him want to work harder and achieve these things. Whereas like for me, sometimes the fear of failure is what makes me stop. You know, I remember when like me and JJ did the album together, and obviously it was like because it was collaborating with him, it's big numbers. I was so scared after that to put my own music out. I just didn't because I knew it wouldn't meet the numbers that we had before. So therefore, I would stop doing it. Whereas someone like JJ would see that as like a challenge to make sure that I can come out of that. So for me, I mean, that's why this year I'm dropping like a song every week to try and make sure I get back into the habit of putting music out no matter what. It doesn't matter about the numbers, it's more about putting the work in, and that's what's rewarding, and that's where the success comes from. The success doesn't come from numbers, because numbers in themselves don't do anything, just there. But what does something is you putting the work in every day for not only your career but also like, friends, family, relationships and all that. So that's why like having that challenge for me is something that I can actually like anchor myself to make sure I'm doing what I need to do as a creator, as a musician or whatever. But yes, fear of failure can be a gift, but it can be a curse, and JJ definitely has figured out the way to get the gift from that, and that's what motivates him. But like you saw in the documentary, maybe that does mean his relationships suffer, because he has got that crazy go-getting attitude, so it can go both ways. It's really hard to like find a pinpoint on it.
Do you think a fear of failure is necessary to be successful?
God,
yeah, I think so.
Stingers, that's a tough one.
Because I think, like what you just said, for some people, is the fear of failure holding them back? Because I know so many people that are like, why would I ever try that? I know I can't do it. And I'm like, what do you mean you know you can't do it? That concept is wild to me. I'm convinced I don't know I can't do anything. I can do anything I want. And like, I think you're definitely either side of it. And either you look at something and you go, there's no way I can do that, I'm not going to try it. Or it's like, oh, of course I can do it, I'm going to give it a go. And then maybe you don't succeed at it. But,
I think the worst thing is doing nothing. I think like if you can take the fear of failure and then do something about it, whether it is channeling it into like anger to succeed more, or whether it is work on yourself, but you can't do nothing. Like if you've got a goal on like being a creator or whatever like field you want to go into, you have to just wake up and put the work in. And one step forward is always better than anything else, and better than no steps at all. Quote that chat. That's unreal from me.
Sorry, the chat loving round there. They're trying.
I know they are so funny. I actually can't.
Shout out to the chat though. It's sick to see you guys enjoying this.
It's brilliant. I've tried not to. That's the second one. That's the second one. The thing is,
great chat.
I was trying to, before I lost my head again there. I was going to say what you said, Talia, when you know that you have friends and that you don't want to take the risk sometimes, but you can see they'll be amazing. I've had a few people that haven't want to say properly got into streaming or content, and you think, you're brilliant, like take the jump, because once you can dedicate all your time to something, I think you can do so much more. I guess it's self-belief, right? If you lack self-belief. Yeah. And it's hard to force people to have it, because some people just don't. I guess I'd say unfortunately, like I feel like sometimes I don't have enough self-belief when you need to like push yourself, I guess. But then on the other hand, I also know that if I really want to do something, I will do it. If I say, right, that's it, that's the line, or that's it, enough's enough, then I know I can force myself. I guess if you've got the right people around you, and
that's important.
People well, you have. I mean, Jay's got people like you guys are his friends and stuff. He has you there to help and support. I think a team game is what's important, because a lot of people don't see that, I guess. And I think the doc was really good in showing that JG does have these awesome people around him, whether it was in, especially with the musical scenes, right? When they're giving him real help and advice and things. And people see it with content creation I guess we're all individuals, but if I didn't have the people, like the friends and the people that are close to me in content to there support me and give me ideas and push me, I'd never have like anything like in terms of say like with like the channels and what I have now. I'd never have that if it wasn't for those people. So there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. And I think, yeah, if you have great people around you, it can certainly help. Sorry, I went on a little bit of a tangent.
No,
well, I was going to say, with JJ, like the thing that I find funny is that I've not said a nice thing to him in years now, you know. So I think that's you know, and obviously that on surface might not be a good thing, but it's like actually it's good because there's times where he kind of, especially early on in his career when he started, he was very young and he was having a lot of success, and you know, he started maybe hanging out with the wrong people or going to do these things that people are just there to get advantage of him and you know do things for them. Whereas I think our group of friends is good because we just you know, talk crap to each other all the time on a daily basis, and that means that he's not always going to get too ahead of himself. You know, obviously we give him his credits for what he's achieving, but we still treat him as a person. You know, if he himself is not doing the right thing, we'll, you know, bring him back to the ground, and they did that for us as well. You know, so I think it's really important to have that kind of, like you say, Pi, having the right people around you, because that can definitely define your success. You know, and also in good ways as well. You know, if you're hanging out with, you know, a lot of friends who aren't really pushing you, then you might get sucked into that as well. So it's about having the right balance of, you know, people who are there for you, but also people who aren't trying to hold you back and also are letting you go and do. And for me in my relationship, you know, Laura's never once not let me go and do like the travels and the trips that I need to do to get to where I am now. And that's really important because you can be in certain situations where they want to spend more time with you, even though you know that going away and sacrificing that thing is going to improve something later down the line. So having the right people with you on your journey is really, really important. And JJ's had that, but also he struggled that, you know, with his brother, his relationship there, you know. So it's really credit to him for finding a way to push through all that. And I think as we've seen, their relationship's got better now. You know, the hard words he gave to Deji in the fight led to Deji finally winning his fight, you know, and now they can reap the rewards, you know. So it's like you got to go through those dark spells to be able to come on out the other end of it, and sometimes people don't, but just knowing that you got to keep going can get them to that place, you know.
Yeah, it's true. I think it's a good point with like, it depends who's around you, and what you said about like giving him a hard time. I think when you've got friends like that, when they then offer you advice and they offer you a serious conversation, it doesn't fall so much on like deaf ears, because it's something you're not used to, and it's like, hold on a minute, if you're saying this and we don't talk like this, then this means that something's wrong. And like, you can pull people back down to earth and you can ground them and give them a moment where they sort of like settle themselves almost.
Yeah, that just reminds me of when you get people that will say things to you, and I think, hang on a minute, if you're telling me that, and you know, you'd never say that, then all right. Yeah. And yeah, I definitely, well, it's just sometimes you've got to be told, and you'll have people that will say to you, oh, I'm sorry, but you know, it's just like, don't apologize. I'd rather know, you know, if you
tell me,
I'd rather you just told me. It's like, you need to hear that, you know. It's not what you want to hear, is it? You have to sometimes hear the other side to think, actually, okay. Yeah, if them people are telling you that, then I assume they're right.
I also think you need friends like JJ, like his chat he had with Deji. I resonated with that highly because I feel like I'm like that with my brother. You know, when you're just kind of like, I know this is tough, I know you've lost, but at the end of the day, this can't be your, like, the thing that defines you. Like, you've got to pick yourself back up. You've got, like, and it's very refreshing to have friends like that as well. As hard as it is sometimes to hear that, you also do need those people who kind of push you when you think like, oh my God, I've got nothing left in the tank, like I'm running out of energy. They just ignite you that little bit more, and before you know it, you've reached something that you kind of thought was like unattainable, you know? So I think that's also really important.
Yeah, like with my songs that I'm doing. Oh, sorry, Talia, that's second time.
No, live your life.
I was saying that like the weekly songs that I'm doing now, like JJ said to me, like the first one you put out, amazing, loved it. Second one, not so much, you know, I didn't like that one. And now I'm making the new ones, and all I can think about in my head every time I make a song is him saying that. And I don't want to make another one that he doesn't like, you know. So now I'm making better music because of it, you know. Now, but it might take longer, it might make me, you know, be back at the drawing board more, but it's making me want to make better music. And yeah, him being honest with friends is really important, and same thing that he did with Deji, you know. But it's annoying at first. You could think of it like as oh man, he hates it, but it doesn't mean that. He's just trying to be that big brother type of guy, and he's trying to help you, you know, improve. It's constructive criticism. Yeah. If you can take it that way. I think it is definitely like, failing is definitely scary, and like if you don't try, you can't fail. But equally, if you don't try, you can't succeed. So you might as well hedge your bets and just hope that you get the better one, you know? Yeah, like Coldplay said. I have not a fun question, but it's less deep. How many hours, you have to guess, each of you, do you think
they say it takes to become a professional or a master at something?
10,000.
Go on, what's your
Yeah,
guess?
Or I would say no, I'd go 5,000. I would say.
Mm-hmm. About you,
I
Sarel?
would say 15,000.
Oh, okay. Well, we've got the intervals. It is. They say it's 10,000 hours.
Oh,
Which is
he said that
it's
with
a
such
lot. I
confidence,
know, he
didn't
ruined
He's
it. I was like, you got to
researched,
be kidding me. He gets in the
He's
beginning.
researched. He's
He knows
What I do,
the
man.
answer.
Just what I do.
Human.
researching.
And actually, I think in the doc you do see this, and there is a specific clip which we're going to play in just a second, where you see JJ rehearsing for his tour, and it's just an interesting perspective to see because like it's the whole thing's being rehearsed in a room with lights. He's talking to the audience as if they're there. I know you were there as well because you were on the tour. But yeah, let's watch it.
Know that when you ride this, brightness, drive it like I'm Atlas. Always walking and bring it. I believe when they see it. I've been here for a minute. Wasn't worrying no limit. Brightness, know that when you ride this. Brightness, big name on campus. I'm the proof and I put it. Said they coming, they couldn't. I'm the man when I'm in it. I'll be done when I'm finished. Hey, don't piss me off. I've been killing this shit. I see confident with that feminine place. Be sure to get hit. And another more than the most in a single year. And still on the man that won. I go down the ways I was in it. And still on the man that won. Now they're chasing me, chasing the hype. Wanting me, wanting the life. Loving the type.
Actually, wasn't at that one, man. They got a better studio when I'm not there, man. The one I went
Oh,
in was like
you
a
know.
little dingy place. Yeah.
So do you agree? 10,000 hours. What's your opinion? Do you think that's way too much, too little? Because obviously that's why I asked you guys originally. Because obviously, Sarel, you said 15 and you said 5. Why? So
Yeah, I went a
you
bit
clearly don't
lower.
quite agree.
I thought it depends on what it is that you're trying to learn. I mean, some people naturally are a lot better at certain things than others. So, I mean, I would probably more than 10,000 hours because I'm useless. So, I played FIFA every day for about 7 years, and I struggled to get 11 wins in FUT Champ. So,
You're still crap.
Yeah, I am absolutely abysmal. So, some things you just can't master. That's the best way to do it. Some things you can't master.
That's a funny way to look at it, actually.
Yeah,
It'd be
I
bad.
think, yeah,
It'd be bad.
I think 10, 15, I think for me, until I feel confident in it, that's when I'm like, okay, I think I've got this. And sometimes it takes me a while to feel confident in something. That's why I said 15. But I'm like, I come from like acting and like rehearsing and being, you know, in a rehearsal room, and you just go over the same thing over and over and over again until it's drilled in. So yeah, I think 10,000 is about right to me. It sounds about right. But I do agree, some people are just annoyingly really good at like picking up stuff. And I'm like, well, that's just unfair because
That's not fair.
You know, that's not fair. When God was giving out talents, I where was I? Do you know what I mean? Like, but whatevs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you
Well, JJ
agree,
says in
Andy,
the
then?
documentary a lot. Yeah, he says like he always says that he's not talented, he works hard, but like that is the talent,
That's the
right? Like,
talent.
the talent to go into all these different industries and succeed, and that's like, it's not by a mistake. Like, yeah, you work hard, but there's a reason that you succeed in like everything you touch.
Yeah.
And it is the attitude. You know, that attitude is a talent. You know, some people have the skill but don't have that drive. You know, so
Yeah.
he can say that all he wants, but he's just wrong. You know, but
That's true.
him thinking that is what drives him. So he can think that I'm wrong. You know, he's right again.
I agree. I think mindset is more important than talent for the most part, because you can be as talented as you want, but if you don't push yourself, people don't see you, what is the point? Whereas some people who have literally a minuscule bit, just a bit to keep them going, but they put themselves in the right places, they're the people that are going to get the opportunities and that you see and that you continue to grow, essentially.
I think consistency and discipline are the two things that you need before anything else. Because if you just put the work and the time in, you will see the benefits of whatever it is you're trying to do. Will you be the best in that field? I don't know, but you will definitely see a massive result just by having discipline and being consistent.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to move on now to another section called We Won't Judge You But, where... I got interrupted.
I was going to say, Talia won't judge the producer for cutting her. Yeah, we won't judge the
We
producer.
won't judge you, but Yeah, I was going to say, we won't judge you, but well, we've got some questions for our lovely Twitch viewers. Also, right now, chat, if you want to put some questions in for anyone specific in the channel or the whole crew, then go for it. We will ask them. I'm going to start with one of the first ones because I do think this one is very fitting for the documentary. Would you rather get in the ring or perform on stage? For me, it's easy. Obviously, I perform on stage. That's easy. I'm not getting in the ring anytime soon. No, thank
Talia,
you.
you can only answer in the ring because, yeah, you do that.
Absolutely not. There's no way I'm getting in the ring. No, there's not a price. Not doing it.
Perform on stage. I don't think I could do very good at either, but I think I'd rather perform on stage personally. But I reckon I'd give boxing a go. I just don't think I think I'd just take one punch and take a dive or something like that. I reckon that'd just be the play.
I said that if I was in a boxing match, I would just speak to the other person. I'd be like, look, I'm going to let you in. Get one clean hit. I'll go down. I'll go down.
You might get arrested for doing that.
Yeah, but no one will know, even though I have said it right now on the Primevideouk UK channel. But it's fine. No, just delete this video.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna perform. Ain't no way I'm getting punched in the face. I'm so sorry. I have a low pain threshold. That's not happening. No.
Yeah.
I'll perform. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I'll perform as well. Yeah, because I obviously have done it before in front of like 80,000 people. No, I'm actually joking. But I would go in the ring, but I feel like it's not worth it. You know what I'm saying? Because like you see these boxers, and especially like these influencer boxers like JJ and everyone doing it, and you think, oh, they can do it, so I can do it. But you're getting punched in the face. There's a real risk there, you know. And if you don't put the work in, then you're not going to be able to counter that and put your own in. But I wouldn't. I feel like even the crazy amount of money in the world wouldn't allow me to. It's not about the fight night. It's about all those months of preparing, you know. And you can do that with music. But the fight is hard, you know. It's really difficult.
We can negotiate, Randy. We can have a secret dive clause if you want.
Yeah, let's go for it, man. Let's go. Oh
Randy, so if I was like, I've got an unlimited budget, how much would it take for you to fight JJ? What would your number be?
To fight JJ? Oh my goodness me. Nah,
you would probably just go down in one.
Well,
so it might just be a quick back. No, I'm sorry. I'm being honest. We're friends.
No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
JJ hits hard.
He punches me sometimes, man. Like we'll be at the airport, and then he'll just shadowbox on me, but then he'll shadowbox too close, and it actually will hit me. Not in a bad way. It doesn't hurt, obviously. But
nice.
We have some videos where if you laugh, you get hit, and he does hit hard, and I'll hit him, and it doesn't do anything. So yeah, there definitely is an amount of money, because I always feel like people who say there's no amount of money they're always lying. There's always a figure that you will do something for, but yeah, it'd be very high for me to fight JJ, because you know he hurts, and also like he's just I think also in his fights before, like he's had fights where against Logan Paul where technically you could say he's not the better boxer, but he just wins. And that's scary. And that's that belief that that kind of energy that he will not lose, and I can't fight against that, because I'm like, yeah, I'll lose, man. I don't care.
And that's one of those scenarios, though, isn't it, where sometimes heart beats the skill. Sometimes it takes something within to get you through over ability.
It's just pure adrenaline and self-belief. Like, have you seen those videos of women lifting cars off of their children? And it's in the panic of the moment, all of a sudden they can do these things that in everyday life there is just no physical way that they could do it. But when you have that much need to do something, sometimes you can just do it, and there's no real rhyme or reason. Is that the saying?
Yeah,
I've said it now.
No, yeah, definitely good saying.
Thanks. All right, bit of a not deep question, but a bit more of a serious one. What are your key daily habits that keep you on track? Do you have any?
Oh,
I could start. Mine are survive the day. I don't have specific daily habits. I wake up and I just hope and pray that it goes well.
Or survive the night, like the song between me, you, and Simon. Stream it.
I wish I could have no daily habits. I am the worst. I'm the worst for it. Like, I have weird OCD with certain things. Like, I've got to say, like, if I go to the gym, I've got to enter. There's 4 doors. I've got to go in and out the same doors. Like, I don't like. I'll wait. Yeah, I'm weird. It's really bad. I have a horrible. It's a really bad way of looking at things, because I can't get the butterfly effect out of my mind. If I say I'm going to do something, I've got to do it, because I always think, oh, if I don't do what I said I was going to do, something else will happen, and then I'll blame it on the fact that I know that's really weird. So before a stream, I have to have. I've got me mug. I've got to have a cup of tea before a stream, and before I stream. It's like, right, I need a shower, but I have to eat first. I can't shower before I eat. I gotta eat, then have a shower, then make a cup of tea. So I'm weird. No. I'm weird in the head. I mean, obviously everyone knew that anyway, but I have to do things in a certain order or it'll annoy me.
No, but I
that
think
can be good though.
that's good. It's having a routine can keep people on track. Like I'm the opposite. Having a routine, I start to like mentally, it doesn't work for me. I literally get stagnant. I don't know what I'm doing. I get into like such a like robotic state where like I can't function or think or like have opinions for myself anymore. Whereas like if I wake up, like I have my diary planned for me. I don't plan my diary. Someone else puts things in. I literally wake up some days and I'm like, this is what I'm doing. Cool.
Yeah.
Like, and if I have to
I
plan
love
it and
that
figure
though.
it out,
I love that. That I love though. I won't look at things. I try to live day to day like you, but just during the day, there's just a few bits I feel like I got to do. But as you said, I also I'm told, right, you know, in 3 days you've got this. Oh, okay, cool. We'll deal with that then. I normally use that as my life quote. If someone says I'm having a bad day, it's like, just deal with it tomorrow. It's tomorrow's problem. It don't matter right now.
That's future me's problem.
Yeah, and then the problem is when it gets to future Pie's problem is current Pie's problem. That's where there's an issue. But once again, that's for later, isn't it? That's for later.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, I do not have a routine. Like I make the routine in my head, it's there, and I'm like, right, I'm gonna take my vitamins, I'm gonna drink 3 liters of water, I'm gonna be like really good at the gym. And then I wake up and I'm like, I don't like that. That's not pleasing my soul. No, thank you. And I think that's just kind of the way of a creative. Like we just kind of do what we feel on any given day because we're very chaotic people. So yeah, no, I don't have a routine. I think also I need to stop trying to have a routine because it's worked out for me this far in life that almost trying to have a routine, like it's not going to work for me. So let's just accept that I'm a bag of chaos and that's okay.
And we love it.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say the opposite for me, to be honest. Like when I don't have a routine, I'm awful because I just like sit here and stare at things, and I'll start filming something or making a song and I just forget what else I have to do. I've got a routine that I've written down here, so I'm going to read you out my exact routine, okay?
Oh, I love it.
So in the morning, I've got 10 minutes of looking into the sun, like staring into it, because I heard from Andrew Human, and that's actually good to do. Like it's good for your body clock, your internal. Yeah, well, no, it's not. You're not directly into the sun. You just look in the direction of the sun.
I thought you meant like eye contact with the ball of fire.
10 minutes. What, you just literally look at the sun for 10 minutes.
For 10 minutes, and apparently all the cells in your body have got like a 24-hour clock on them, and that looking into the sun each morning resets like your body clock a little bit. So I'm trying to do that. I'll send you a video on it. It's very good. Then I try and journal. I try and like, write a journal. And this year I've been trying to do one daily, but I just forget. Sometimes I forget to do the routine. That's my problem. When I follow this routine, I have a great day. When I don't, then here I've got like time with Harper. Like, obviously I spend a lot of time with Harper, but I make sure that when I wake up, I go and like literally spend like actual, you know, proper time before I start my day. Then I've got coffee, obviously, like, you know, sometimes when I don't have coffee, I can't exist. Like today was one.
Doesn't exist.
But now I've had caffeine and now I'm on point. And then exercise, of course, and then take vitamins as well. So that's my morning routine. But I've also got like a routine for the night as well. But I never complete that because it says get 7 hours sleep, and I never get that. So I'm not even gonna read it. It's a waste of time.
Nice.
But yeah,
I love
my
that,
heart is sticking to the And I'm not gonna show you because it's got other stuff. But you click a little box and it'll show you how many times you click the box.
Yeah, I've tried stuff like that. I don't have the capability of sticking to a routine or even like thinking of a routine. I'll have a moment the night before I'm like, do you know what, tomorrow I'm gonna do this, this, and this. And like you said, I wake up, no, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do it. It does not fuel me right now.
Oh, that's a classic though. That always happens. It'll get to like, I'm a bit nocturnal. Well, I say a bit nocturnal. I am nocturnal. So it will be 6 a.m. and I'll be tired and I'll go, I've got this extra video to edit. You know what? I'm going to get up an hour earlier tomorrow and do it then. I'll wake up tomorrow and I won't do it. It won't. It's never happening. It's like, why didn't I?
The morning's so important, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, why didn't I just do it last night? And I've had things I think about a week that were going to be, I'll do them here, and I've not. So that happens all the time, literally.
Yeah. All right. Next question. A lot more like chill. What is your advice, or how can you start a YouTube channel? My advice is just like, you just have to start, and like,
that's my same advice.
Don't even think of an idea. Literally just
say
sit in front of the camera and just talk. And like, you don't even have to necessarily upload that video, but like, you just have to start. And it sounds so easy. It sounds like such stupid advice. But
I think it's great advice.
I can give.
I say exactly the same, Talia. People will say when I'm streaming out, I want to start streaming, what should I do? Just click go live. You just
have to do it.
You can never experience it without just doing it and going live, and you never know. And the thing is, I get that when you start out, it's stupidly difficult, especially if, say, you know, you're not getting views, you're not getting viewers. It's tough, right? But you never know that one day is going to be your day. And if you don't put the videos out there or you don't stream, you're never going to have that one day, I guess. Is this, you never know, one day that video might bang, or you know, you might get raided by a streamer, and then people find your channel, and then your discoverability grows. That would be my genuine like advice on how to get going. Yeah.
I totally agree. Just start, and also not worrying about looking silly or what other people will say. Just go for it. And sometimes it seems like it's easier said than done, but pulling the band-aid off that first time, every other time is going to be easier because the first time is the hardest. That's when you're like, oh, but after that, you've done the hard bit. Just do it. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like, I think you are your own worst critic, right? That's what people say, and that's so true with like posting content. So to start a YouTube channel, all you got to do, like Talia said, is create the channel and start posting videos. I saw a Mr. Beast like quote where he was saying you don't have the right to complain about your views or whatever until you've posted like 100 videos. He's saying that you need those 100 videos to actually learn, you know, just get out there. And then when you've posted your 101st, that's when you've earned the right to actually start then looking at the analytics and looking at the numbers. And I think that's so true because, and I struggle to do that as well. I overthink things to the point where nothing goes out, you know. And if you make yourself look silly, but you've got a video out there, then that's one step in the right direction, you know. And you won't look silly when you've completed your goals and you're now kind of telling those people who told you can't do it that you've done it, you know. So it's like, yeah, you got to just go for it. Post one video, post 2 videos, post 3 videos, and you'll learn a little bit each time. There's no pressure on you other than the pressure you give yourself. And what would you rather do? Would you rather look back in like 5 years thinking that I didn't do that, or would you know that at least you gave it a shot? So doing it is the most important thing, you know.
Yeah, regret's horrible, isn't it? Especially with like creation and stuff. Like when you want to do something, it's whether, and you don't put yourself out there. I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. You'd never want to look back, do you, and think, I wish I did that. If you do it, at least you've given it a go.
Tried, yeah.
You know, the most common deathbed like regret is things that people didn't do rather than things did do. And that, when I heard that stuck with me, and I was like, oh my God, because it's true. I never look back and go, oh, I wish I didn't do that. Why did I? Oh, it's like, well, I did it. So, but I do think, oh, I wish I did that. Like, why didn't I take that opportunity? Why didn't I do that thing? And like, I think, you know, it's a bit heavy and it's a bit like dramatic, but it is true because you are going to look back and think of all the things that you should have done rather than things that, oh, why did I do that? I was a bit stupid. All right, well, you survived, so it's fine.
Yeah.
You know?
That's very true. Gotta go for it.
Okay, good question. How do I pivot out of working for someone else to working for myself? That's hard without risk.
Well, I don't even do that, Lynn. Even to this day, like, I say yes to everything and I don't say no to anything. And it's like, you know, you do these things to other people, but it's like, what are you doing for yourself? So I actually will say I don't know.
Oh, you took that way deeper. I thought it meant as in like working for like employing, like being employed to working for myself.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Doing things for other people.
Well, but that's still kind of the same thing, right? Because like I'm working for my boss, but I'm not working for myself. You know?
Yeah.
I will say that. I will say that the opportunities out there that are for yourself are way higher than working for somebody else. But it's so hard. Like the job that we do, the hardest part about it is the sense of security. No matter how good you are doing, nothing else is like is given. So, for example, you could be earning as much money in the world doing this, but you don't know what is happening next month or the month after that or the year after that. You know, whereas when you're in a job, that's one thing you do have is that sense of security and sense of stability. So I don't know the answer to this because I still struggle with it daily. But I think, again, it maybe the same answer from the last one before. The YouTube question is that you just got to do it, right? Like you got to go into that wilderness and figure it out. And I think part of becoming successful in this field is the failing, because like JJ says, you know, that failure is what fuels you. So once you've had that job and that security, but then you go on your own, the only thing that keeps you going is, well, if I don't do something, I won't have the paycheck next month. It's like, therefore I have to grind, otherwise I'm just gonna fail. There's no other way about it.
Well, Ashley in chat said maybe start off trying to do things on the side, and then if it goes well, transition to full-time on your own. And I think one of the things I want to say, sorry, interrupting.
Go. Sorry, that's my bad.
Is it's almost impossible. Like, obviously there are cases where you can blow up on the side and like you are guaranteed you can switch and you're safe. It's almost impossible to switch without a sense of risk. There is always a sense of risk involved. And like for some people, the risk is going to be too much because maybe you've got like 5 kids to support and you're on your own, in which case, yeah, that risk is way bigger than someone else who, like for me, when I went out of employment and I started doing YouTube full time, I lived at home and I didn't pay rent. So it was a risk, but it realistically, there wasn't that much risk. It was more of a personal risk rather than actually like my life. So it's about like assessing and weighing, like, is this risk worth it? Is this the best time of my life to take this risk? Or is it that in like a year, I know that I'm getting a house, or I know that I'm doing this, or I'm actually staying with these people. So do you know what? At that point, I could afford to take that risk. Like, I think it's just assessing and weighing up your options.
Yeah, I think that's so true. When you're working for someone, go on.
So go, Ren. No, it's fine, man.
You've been holding that one in, man. You've been cooking that one.
No, it's fine. It's only what Talia was saying though with like the hedging. I think what Ashley's saying is a great point. That's what I did when I first started content creation. That is what I did. I actually decided to just, I said, all right, you know what? I'll have a go and see how it goes. Because as you said, Talia, if you're at home and you haven't got as much responsibility around you, then as long as you can last for a while, but you have to be willing to then respect if it doesn't take off or it doesn't go well. You've got to then be willing to go back. Yeah, you've got to be willing to go back, because a lot of people then might say won't let it go when they maybe should, and that's when things can get difficult. But I know a lot of people that they work full time and they stream and make content on the side. So I know a lot of people that have gone from working full time to then going to make content, because that's what you tend to find is and that's I think the real thing you get with people that do content creation and YouTube are all real people that have come from real hard-working backgrounds and stuff, and actually have genuine life experience and are now doing something that's obviously people see as being like super cool and super privileged. But people don't just click their fingers, and the documentary is a great example. And I always say that when people say, oh, well, JJ can do that because he's got this, and JJ can do that because he's got that. I say to people, yeah, but he had nothing, and now he's got, the world effectively, but he's working for it, and he worked for it. When to get to KSI or to get to where he is now, he started from nowhere. And if he didn't turn on his PC and make that first video and put in the grind and put in the effort, and he wouldn't be there now. So I just think it's a fair point to say to people is a lot of people when they look at content creation, they don't always, they just think people are there, they just think, oh, you just post that, or they don't think, they realize that it's real people that have come. Yeah, there's people that have come from real places and real backgrounds and stuff. So that was just a little bit of a thing on the mind, but
I think that the biggest thing in terms of shifting is shifting your mindset first. And even if you are doing the 50-50 where you're doing full-time employment and your content, I think you should look at your content as your main hustle and not your side hustle, because a lot of the times, I think a lot of the times if you look at it as your side hustle, that's the thing that's always going to be sacrificed. Therefore, if work calls you in for an extra shift, you're going to be like, oh, well, okay, I'll go to that. Whereas if you prioritize this and you're doing the bit on the side just to make sure you've got enough to keep you going, then I think that will help you find that push to pivot a lot quicker. I'm the same. I did the 50-50 thing. It's a little bit different because I was jobbing actor, so when you're not on stage or in auditions, you're behind a bar or waiting or whatever it is. But you have to look at acting or content or whatever it is you're doing as your main hustle, and then you just know that you're just waiting for the day for that to become financially your main hustle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think people look at what we do as like Pi said, we don't do anything. Like, it's so hard to kind of get this content out there on a daily basis. I think what people need to realize as well is just because you're working for someone in like a full-time job doesn't mean that you have to go and become a creator to get outside of that. You can still provide value for people when it's not necessarily being the creator, in terms of setting your own hours and working on things that maybe creators need, or working on things that can bring money in where you're not tied to a specific job. So for example, there's so many creators now that people need thumbnails, need editing, need people to write things for them. If you can provide that value for them, then they're going to want that, and then you can use that to then pivot into your own content afterwards, because you're building the skills that you'll need on your own anyway. So sometimes as well, you got to think about, while I'm working in my job, or while I'm doing that, what can I be doing in my spare time that's not necessarily earning money right now, but it's getting there, so spending a few hours each night while you're watching Primevideouk, you're there making thumbnails, or you're editing, or you're practicing. That stuff can be really important for later down the line. There's no pressure to be able to sometimes people quit their job and expect to get that money in straight away. It's not going to happen. You've got to grind for it. So like you say, Talia, just stay in your job and figure out what you can do, because it's all about value, so what value you can provide to somebody is the most important thing, and that's also can be to viewers as well. So if you don't have the value, you can't get there. So you got to figure out a way to make sure that you are the best at whatever you can be, and that's you can do that while you're working. You don't have to quit your job and go do that. You can keep it going as you're going, so
yeah, I think it's a really good point actually. It's like, you don't have to be in front of the camera straight away to be a content creator. You can figure out ways, and like you can work for companies and you can work for brands and stuff like that, and then you learn the other side of it, and it makes you so much more well equipped to then move into that industry. That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. That's very true. I know a lot of people that like worked at brand agencies or have worked in the industry and then ended up transitioning, and it's not even that they ever intended to. It's just that it naturally happened for them. I mean, Freya's a great example. And Josh. Yeah, neither of them had it in their head. It's like, I want to be a content creator. And it's like, but then you naturally, it's like, actually, like, this really works for me and I'm good at this. Why shouldn't I carry on and try this? So yeah, there's definitely, like, Primevideouk said, there's so many ways in, and it is true. That's a good point. Nice one, Randy.
Thanks.
As chat said, so eloquently put.
Thanks.
Your chat made me die. It's so funny. Okay, what are the best things about being a streamer for you personally?
What?
I know, Sarel, I don't know, you said this is your first time on Twitch, so
I never streamed in my life.
You're already doing a better job than me as well. You're already doing a better job than me. You said that. You said, I'm like a... Yeah, you say like I'm a technophobe. I'm a massive technophobe, but I always say I'm a professional, unprofessional. But no, I think as you said then, right, it's what it is now. It's just a community, right? Like some of the comments, like the mood comments and stuff, I'm dying inside, it's brilliant. And that I think when the chat is great and when people are just hammering it, is brilliant. And that I do really enjoy in terms of like just purely streaming. That interaction community aspect is great, because sometimes you do get bad days when people are trolling in the wrong way, and then it's frustrating because you're like, I'm trying to create a positive, fun environment, and you're just trying to stop that, and that can be annoying. I say nowadays you find with Twitch you can get like, it's almost like the TikTok generation, where Twitch is obviously super long form content, right? You can't get everything in 2 minutes or whatnot. Sometimes we'll stream for 5, 6, 7 hours. And a lot of people want things then now because they're so used to getting it on like TikTok and YouTube Shorts,
instant gratification.
Instantly. And you just have to explain to people that we're not just, it's not just about that on Twitch. It's more about kind of, in a way, the game is almost sometimes the background stuff, while you're talking about other things. But yeah, I think for me, the community is definitely the main thing, as you can see by like the chat and stuff this evening. Just certain people are just, they got that funny way about it,
Yeah, I'd say the same, really. Yeah, just that having that community there. I love streaming. I wouldn't say that streaming is something that I do every single day, or I hold high in my kind of like priority list. But when I do stream, it's like my guilty pleasure. It's like when I stream to take a break from everything else. So it's like the content, the music, the pressure. You just go live, talk to the community, and that kind of gives you the hunger and gives you kind of like the passion again for it, because people just you get their direct opinion, you get their instant feedback, and that can be really nice. When you're working on music or you're working on videos, you don't often see the end results for weeks, months, whatever. Whereas when you're streaming, I can be making a song and people are right there like, it's good or it's bad, and it's like, cool, now I know that, and having that sense of community is really, really important, and that's why we do this. So it keeps us happy. So shout out to all the viewers and the chatters out there.
It's probably great for you as well, Randy, because obviously Talia like streams an absolute like boatload on and stuff, and as you say, you kind of do it as almost like an escape type thing. It must be great for like yourself and the community though, to have like almost as it's an opportunity, isn't it? Because they see you doing so many other like insane like creative stuff, and then they've kind of got you in like your raw form, if that makes sense, to have like a chat with you and have you there. So it must be nice for them to have you streaming too.
I think streaming, you have a sense of vulnerability as well that you don't often see. Like on Instagram, social media, you're always showing the best parts of your life, whereas when you're on stream, you're just who you are, and that can be really important to ground yourself and just and have that, that like I said, that vulnerability with your chat, because they see you at your highs, at your lows, and it's nice to have that, So I love streaming, personally.
Yeah, and the lows is a point too, especially with like myself. Like, you'll get FIFA, and you will actually get people, because you will get smart Alex. Like, I'll be having an absolute meltdown. I'll be like, oh, we're seeing the real side of you here. I'm like, yes, I'm fuming. It's like, yeah, I'm 3-0 down.
Yeah.
It's like you think people would want to see that. It's like, I'm literally 3-0 down. The guy's passed it around the back. My head's in the
People
gutter.
love it when I'm mad.
I got the chat going absolutely mental, like grinding me down. I'm having a meltdown. Like, what do you want me to do? Sit here and go, oh, everything's great. We're in La La Land.
Yeah.
I think I said to someone, terrible quote. I think I said, I'm not custard or something like that. I'm not bland custard, I think was a quote. I said, I'm just gonna sit here and do nothing.
It's true though. You gotta be real, and there's nothing more real than just live streaming. You can't cut it out. You can't stop. You say something, it's out there. There's nothing you can do about it. And a lot of people find that scary, but I find it weirdly comforting, because it's like I'm just having a conversation. I cannot be I physically cannot fake anything right now because I am live, so I have to just be real and just relax. But also, while we were talking, we did have a channel point redeem, 1,000 points, and each of us have to share a work/life balance tip. I'll start so you guys can think, because I've had a moment to think about it when I read it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah,
I cheated.
my tip, I know I did, is you need to decide what one, work or life, ultimately is your most important. So for me, life wins over work. Some people be work, but for me it's life. So when I'm faced with a decision, I'm like, I don't know how to decide this, which one do I pick? I go back to the fundamental of, okay, well, in my life personally, I want to be successful in my friendships and all that. That's the most important thing to me. So then I'll base my decision on that, and that's how I balance things better for my mental health.
I wish I could be that. I wish I could be that headstrong, Talia. I do. I have things where I just I struggle. I'm better with it now, but I used to really struggle with time away. If I were to take time off, I just think I'm leaving it behind. I think I'm horrible. It's whenever I'm not live or when I should be. So I guess
I used to struggle with that a lot.
Yeah, massively. I've struggled with it a little less now, I think, as I've streamed more. But I don't know what sort of tip I'd give. I guess my tip would be, sometimes if say for example in a month you've already got some things that are locked in that you're going to be doing that are say more of a life balance, and actually sometimes you've got to say, do you know what, today I can't do that, I'm gonna work. And I'm not, that's almost to play devil's advocate to what you were saying,
no, it's true,
you're very much on the life aspect. Is that actually, if you know you've got things coming up that aren't work related, where you're 100% are committed to, then maybe think, actually I've got to be headstrong today and do that, because you can't do everything you want to do.
Discipline.
I guess, because then I think it's all about personal discipline. That would be my take on it.
I am still trying to be the best at getting that balance, so I don't know if I have many tips. But I will say that what I've learned thus far is to give myself grace. So sometimes I'm really hard on myself that I don't know, I'm not spending as much time with friends and family, or I'm not going to the social events, or I'm not doing this when it comes to work, or why didn't you get up at 6 a.m. and edit 7 videos? I'm just really hard on myself. And I have to remind myself that you're 29, first of all, you've achieved a lot, both in work and personal, so just give yourself grace. And if it's a case of just texting a friend and saying, hey, thinking of you, let's hang out soon, that's added into your personal bank of fulfillment or whatever. And if it's a work thing and it's just managing to do one thing on the to-do task, then you've done that. So I think it's just, giving myself a bit of breathing space, and knowing when to take a break on both personal and professional, because I am an introvert at heart. I have to recharge my social battery. I can't be doing all the heys and how are yous all the time. So I shouldn't feel bad about just taking some me time.
Nah, you definitely
yeah,
you 100% shouldn't. Sorry, because that's a great point though. You want like, I love that because I always say to people are like, oh, you know, I'm like, don't apologize. You are allowed to just ghost for a bit, or I do that sometimes. If I'm struggling, I'll just go AWOL for a couple of days, and then normally that's normally my solution. I try and say to people nowadays, because with the way the mental health stuff is nowadays, people forget, I think, that you can just be sad. Like you are, like you're not having a, you know, you've not got mental problems and stuff because you're a little bit down, if that makes sense. You know, and because then people think they've got worse issues than they do. When I just feel like saying to actually, if you want to be sad, it's fine. It's like, it's okay to, as I say, it's all right to not be okay. You can be sad for a few days. There's nothing wrong with that. Like people, you can't be happy 24/7, right? Like, and everyone has different ways of coping with it. I just think that was a very good point where you said sometimes you have to take some time for yourself. I do that. I genuinely do. I will ghost people for a few days. I'll just put my phone in, you know, silent, whatever mode it is, sleep mode or whatnot, and just. But then I tend to find that's what gets me back. Yeah, I tend to find it just gets me back out of it though. Then I'm like, bang, I'm back into my cycle. But I always say it to people will be like, "You're all right." I'm like, not really, but I will be fine. It's like, 'cause I know I'll be okay. It just
It's just learning what recharges you. Like, if you need to switch off, great. If you need to go and see friends, do that. Like, it's learning yourself. What was your one?
Yeah, and I would say as well that, like, I don't know either because I still struggle to figure this out. But I'm thinking now, like, one thing I would say I need to do is figure out what is work and what is life, because when you're working, like, say, like a full-time job, you know that you've got the work side of it covered, but then what is life? Because life could be the pressure of seeing your friends all the time. But I think what you said was nice, is that you kind of having your own time is also good. So don't feel like you have to have the responsibility of meeting friends or pleasing them. Sometimes it is just about like switching off and just doing nothing and taking that care for yourself. And it's also not, it's not wrong to not know the answer, you know. Trying to figure out that work-life balance is okay to actually not have necessarily the answers, and that's the journey that we're all on. So my answer would be just take the pressure off, and when you're not at work, do whatever you need to do to feel comfortable yourself. If that is like, you know, going out and seeing friends, then great, that's perfect. But if it's not, don't feel guilty for that, because, you know, you need the time to recharge. So if you're just sat watching telly, that's great, you know, or having a bath, or, you know, just turn your phone off, great. You know, whatever you need to do, you need to do it.
I think people probably are more balanced than they realize, because if you go through a period where you're more work heavy and you're like, oh my God, I need to go the other way, and then you're more life heavy and then you're more work heavy, you're kind of balanced because you're weighing it out. And like, you'll go through ebbs and flows, and at the end of it, if it all balances itself out, you've probably done all right. Like, it doesn't have to be that every day, like, I've got 12 hours of this, I've got 12 hours of this. That's not what balance means.
And also I will give it a big tip, is that you should buy an air fryer, because literally
can I ask, please, I've seen the word air fryer for the last hour and a half.
Loving air fryers.
What is that?
Well, I bought an air fryer, and then on the podcast I spent like half an hour explaining how good it is, and I was reading one night I found myself on the internet reading like air fryer memes, so everyone like, but yeah, honestly,
I wanted to know what
recommend
was the chat.
That's what makes you happy.
You save time. It cooks food really fast, and it also doesn't leave much of a mess. So actually, it literally is like a game changer.
Yeah, and everyone tells me to get one.
Work-life balance. Get an air fryer, and you get to spend more time eating food rather than like actually waiting for it to cook.
There you go. You know? There you go. Quick cooking is the key to a work-life balance. Everyone, we've solved it.
So waiting an hour and a half for your chicken, do it in an hour, you know, and then use it half an hour to have a bath.
Love it. Love it.
Right. I'm going to ask you one last question, and we're going to leave it on a positive note. What is your moment, you might have multiple, but pick one, that you are most proud of in your life, whether it's work or life? Randy, you can't say Papa.
Well, this is not fair. Sometimes I'll say, sometimes I'll say, "Oh, performing on stage," and then everyone will say, "Well, what about your daughter?" So like,
well, no, that's why I'm saying don't say Harper, so that you can say something, because that's obviously the thing you're most proud of.
Yeah,
that goes without saying.
Harper,
so you,
performing with JJ, I'll say that at the festival he did in the documentary, that was my life highlight, apart from having my daughter. So that's
nice. Oh God, you're struggling. It can be something little. It doesn't even have to be a momentous thing. Like, sometimes you look back and you think that day, like, I just got through it, and that was enough. That was enough.
If it helps you can have a think, I'll go if you want, but if you want me to help you think, I can go if you want me to go.
Yeah, can you go, please? Because I'm still, yeah.
Yeah, I can let you think if you want. No, I think for me, the Sidemen charity match, like, would top everything. Being involved in that is probably like, that is the sickest thing I've done in terms of like, even like life. Like as you said, it doesn't have to be say like work based or stuff or content based. That's probably the sickest thing I've done. I just remember being sat there in the dressing room because me and Randy are on the same team. And I almost just felt like, and when like they were like, you know, JJ was doing a speech and stuff, I almost just felt like a fan. I'm like, why am I here? Like, what am I doing? I just the whole day. I genuinely just spent the whole day as just in awe. I'm like, I cannot believe like I have been invited to this. Genuinely, so that was probably that was probably it, I would say, for me.
Scoring there as well for me was a highlight as well.
Yeah, I did not have a good performance. You know, that annoyed me for weeks how badly I played. Like that
You were
that's the thing.
fine.
No, I was terrible. People would say, "Oh, you played well." I was like, "No." I was like, "Don't lie to me." I was like, "I know I was bad. Trust me. I know I was bad."
You're not a footballer. You're an entertainer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine is going to be for now, as in like what I can think of now, because that's another thing sometimes where stuff happens over like a condensed period of time, and then you're just like zinging around and you don't get time to actually like take a moment to take it all in, which is another thing about being a creative, like just sitting with like the stuff in the moment, no matter how big or small they are, just like really appreciating them. But I say all of that to say, for me, it would be when I did the red carpet presenting for the Black Panther premiere, because I was just like, again, why have you invited me? I'm fangirling over everyone. And yeah, you know, when you just have like an outer body experience. So I think that for me was quite a big highlight.
That's cool though. Congrats. That's awesome. I love that.
Love that.
It was insane, but it was really cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you.
nerve-wracking.
I feel better when you say things like that though, like how kind of you feel about that, because I've done some stuff too, and that's how I felt. I think, why am I here? Like, you know, what like. We've done sort of like with like F1. I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, it's David Coulthard. Like, what do you mean? It's like you don't realize. Like, I don't know what's going on in my head. I'm like, how, like, you know, what's going on? Like, what? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like I played FIFA in my room. Why am I here? So it takes a minute, I think, sometimes for me to like understand that. Then I guess it just wants, as you said earlier about motivation, Talia. It just makes me want to work harder. Like, so I don't want that in a way. I guess you kind of don't want to stop. You feel like if you stop working hard, then I guess opportunities like that won't continue. So that's why I want to keep grinding on, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think this has been a little bit deep, this episode. I can't lie. It's been
great.
Up and down.
Really enjoyed
We've had some moments. Yeah. I mean, and if you guys haven't seen the doc chat, you definitely should go and watch it. Obviously, we showed you some clips. It's very emotional. It's very like, it's just a new insight into not only JJ, but just the industry itself, both YouTube and music. And it is a really, really good watch. And actually, not before we head off, after we head off, we're going to leave you with a clip from JJ, a little exclusive. Nice. Yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you to all of our lovely guests. We really appreciate it. We've had a great time. And we will leave you with the words of the wonderful KSI.
What's up? Yeah, my doc, KSI in real life, is out now on Prime Video. Tweet me, good or bad. I'm open arms, and yeah, I'll see you lot in a bit. Enjoy.